Hey my friend, in this lesson I'm gonna blast you with a couple dozen beautiful add 9 chord shapes. Some of them are in open voicings, closed voicings, easier to play, harder to play, but you'll be able to play those beautiful chords from any note you want on the fretboard. And before we start, if you want to download the chord charts of all 28 chord diagrams I'm gonna show you in this lesson, you can get it for free by clicking on the first link in the description box or in the comments, or go to ambientguitaracademy.com/add9 and you'll be able to download it for free to keep it for future reference. It is my pleasure. So let's dive in with the first chord. First of all, what do we mean by add 9 chords? The chords are usually built with the root, the third, and the fifth. 1, 3, 5. And we are going to add the 9th note of the scale on top of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to add this on top of that, and it's going to create a beautiful extension, a sweet friction that's going to make your chord beautiful. Some people are calling them sometimes add 2 when the note that we add is actually in the same octave than the root, but I'm going to call them add 9 throughout this lesson for the sake of simplicity. So let's start. The first one is on G and it's played like this. So that's a sweet voicing that I like because it's actually even easier than playing an open G chord with all 4 fingers. The only thing is that you have to leave your ring finger in the way of the 5th string because we don't want to let it ring. We want to mute it. And don't forget the 9th in it. You can add it as a little hammer-on if you want. And then if you want to move that voicing around, we have to close it with a bar, right? So if I want to play the same chord from the 6th fret, for example, it's going to be played like this. So it's a bit harder to play. You have to stretch your pinky, but you can move it around. And if you want an easier version of that, we can actually take the note that's on the 6th string and move it to the 1st string because it's going to be the same note. And then you have another voicing like this. It's less stable than this one because now we have the root as the lowest note, but this one is actually really beautiful too. Right? And if you want a bigger challenge, you can actually take this shape right here, but play it with the bass note too. So I would actually replace my ring finger with my middle finger, and the ring finger would stretch until the 6th fret of the 6th string. Right? So it's super complete. Another super easy chord to play that's beautiful is on open E. So this is an E minor add 9. So actually each time I'm going to show you the open versions and the closed versions where you can move them around by barring. So this is the minor version. And this is the major version. So we have to add the index on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. So this is the minor version without the index, and major version. And then if we want to close that and move it around as a bar, this is trickier because this is a big stretch. So I'm going to start it from the 9th fret so that the frets are closer together. So in that case, the minor version will be like this. And the major version is even harder. It's like this. But I like this one because it's so balanced. You have doubled and even triple notes in there if you play the regular bar chord. But then we're just going to add that little sweet extension that's going to add friction in the middle like this. So I love it. The next one is a variation on that. So instead of adding the friction in the middle, we're going to put it on top of the chord. So we're going to fret a regular E minor chord like this, but we're just going to add the ninth on top on the second fret of the first string. And if you want the major version, that's the same thing. Add the index on the first fret of the third string. And if you want to bar that, that's going to be trickier. Maybe you could do it for the minor version, but since we're already using all four of our fingers, for the major version, we're just going to strip down some notes. We're going to remove notes from the sixth and the fifth string, and we're going to keep only the upper portion. So for the minor version, let's say that I start on G sharp. It's going to be like this. And this is actually a voicing that Steve Hackett from Genesis used a lot. I covered that in my last lessons from 2 weeks ago. You can watch it, my top 10 Genesis chords. But this is actually a voicing that he uses a lot. And the major version, of course, we're going to add the middle finger on the fifth fret of the third string. So minor and major. And now we move on to one of my favorites. It's on A minor. So you take a regular A minor chord, but you're gonna replace the ring finger that's on the third string with the pinky on the fourth fret. And if you want the major version, you're going to do a little switcheroo. You're going to take your index, put it on the second fret of the fourth string, and then put your middle finger on the second fret of the second string. So minor and major. And you can also have a bar version of that. So let's go to the ninth fret again. So the barred version will be like this. So this is the minor version and the major version. And I'm going to add an extra one to, I call this the Dream Theater chord. It's the same principle, but we're going to play it. It's the same shape than the A minor here. But we're going to move it up to the 8th fret, where the index is on the 8th fret. And I'm going to open the E string instead, or both E strings, the 6th and the 1st. Like this. This is on the song On the Back of Angels? I don't know what is plural. And then if you want to play like the song, you can replace your middle by your ring. So I like, this is a cool open voicing that you can use too. Let's do one from C. So instead of playing the regular C open like this, we're gonna play it like this. So we replace the note on the 1st fret of the 2nd string by the added 9th here, and that's gonna do this voicing right here. So it's a great one to play from C, and if you want to bar it, that's gonna be trickier, but it's possible. If I do it from the 6th, for example, it's gonna be like this. So it's the same thing here, but we consider that there's like a bar on fret 0, and if we move that and we rearrange our fingers, it's possible to do it like this. Okay, let's move to the next shape. It's a D add 9. So instead of taking the regular D, we're gonna play it like this. So the principle is always the same. When you have open chords like the C, the D, the E, many times you have the root twice or even 3 times in the chord. It's like doubled or tripled with octaves. So in that case, we have the open D string, but we had another D note on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So instead of playing the same double note that sounds empty, we replace it, this one, 2 frets higher to reach the 9th, and now have a richer sounding chord. Another voicing that I really like, this one I'm gonna play it from the 7th and 10th fret like this. It's like the D shape, but we're gonna add the 9th at the bottom. So that's what some people would call an add 2, because the added note is at the bottom, close to the root, in the same octave than the root, and we're gonna play it like this. So the friction is at the bottom here. And I find it sounds really cool and good when it's played on upper notes, higher the fretboard. Or even down, I mean, it's just a little muddy when you play it down the fretboard. So I prefer it in this range right here. There's another voicing that I like in upper voicings, and it's this one right here. Do you hear the friction right here, right? The friction between the lowest note and the second note. It's just a semitone apart. It's a big friction. But it sounds beautiful. It's actually the same thing than the shape of the bar chord like this. But now the friction is like in the middle of the chord. But when you remove the lowest notes, now the friction can really shine on at the bottom of the chord, if you will. So I love this one. And then I'm going to show you some other open voicings that I like. This one is on D major. Right? So you actually get the D twice, then the third of the chord, and the open first is the added 9th. And if you want to play it in a minor version, you have to replace the note on the 2nd string from the 7th to the 6th fret. So this one sounds super cool too. You can do exactly the same principle from an A chord. So I'm going to play the major version like this. And the minor version like this, I have to lower by 1 fret the note on the 3rd string, and it does this. So A add 9, A major add 9, and A minor add 9. And the last 2 chords I'm going to show you are not really typical, but they're great to play one after another. So it's actually on B, so I'm going to play really high up on the fretboard because it's a big stretch both ways. And it's going to be played like this. So what's cool is that you can keep your index on the 12th fret of the 4th string like this. And you can move all the rest and lower it by 1 fret. So all of this moves aside from the index. And now you get a B flat add 9. So now you get a B minor add 9. And then a B flat major add 9. And it just sounds beautiful one after another. And it's a great exercise of finger independence and stretching. Like if you want to try to play that lower on the fretboard. That's a great challenge. So we have seen all 28 chord shapes in this lesson already. Don't forget, if you want to keep the chart for future reference, you can download it for free. It's the first link in the description box below or in the comments. I know it's better when you're on mobile to click in the comments without expanding the description. Or you go to ambientguitaracademy.com/add9 and I'm going to send it to you in a matter of seconds in your inbox and you'll be able to keep it for future reference. So go click first link below to get your chord charts. I hope that you really enjoyed this lesson and that you learned new chord shapes, and I'm going to see you real soon with a new lesson. Until next time, au revoir.